Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. Well, today I'm going to be doing my video on how Brook Shields called out Meghan Markle and just talking to you about a little bit of all the backlash that Meghan has been getting, especially with this most recent video that she put out of her having her second daughter, Lily. And to also just kind of let you know and to justify all the backlash that Meghan gets and what she is doing behind the scenes so that we can really fully look at what is happening and understand how and why it is deserved. Oh, yes. Oh, it is. Okay, let's get into it. Right. Now, here's the thing. I listened to Thomas Markle Jr.'s live, and I highly recommend you go listen to it. He really gives a good breakdown of all the things that Meghan said in the Netflix documentary. He gives a rebuttal to it, things that I've said when I actually interviewed Thomas Markle Sr. about how all this got started, not really even with the photos and what Meghan claims is the reason why she never talks to her father, but because Meghan did not want her father to have a relationship with Thomas Jr. and Samantha. Meghan did not want her father to associate with his own children. That's why she needed an excuse to disown her father. I think that's why she also played a hand in helping to get her father to take pictures so she would have a reason before the whole public to say why she doesn't speak to her father. But the truth is, and even Thomas Markle Sr. told me this firsthand, that's what Meghan did. She wanted her father to disassociate with his children if he wanted to have a relationship with her, Meghan. So that's the truth. And Thomas gives a really good breakdown of what happened in the Netflix documentary. Really good live that he did. So I highly recommend you listen to that to get the answers to and the rebuttal to some of the things that Meghan said in that Netflix documentary. And then we also have to think about all the backlash. I mean, everywhere you go on social media, it's this image of Meghan acting like a hoochie mama. And the one thing that it always came to mind when I saw it is when I was a little girl, I used to watch this girl named Chara, and she was like the coochie girl, the coochie. And I remember thinking when I was a kid, ugh, that's nasty. And I was a kid, I'm like, something is wrong about this coochie thing. Although the reason why Chara would say coochie, it had to do with her dog and the nickname for her dog.
How did you come up with coochie girl? Who came up with that?
I have a dog in the farm of my grandparents. We have a dog called Cuchillo, Larry.
It sounded similar to like coochie or hoochie, and it was just a way for her because she's Spanish, and so she just gave it a nickname.
He have a broken back because he have an accident.
But the word coochie for us is derogatory, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
and my grandmother brought the dog from the street and fixed in the best way possible. So the dog we go back and forth. I'm not kidding you.
Coochie. But she used it. It was like her slogan, her saying. And it just always, when I was younger, I thought, oh, there is just something wrong about that coochie. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. I tell you.
I call him Cuchi because Cuchillo was a very long word. So I copied the dog. I went to the growing up, como Gucci, and they give me money, Larry.
And so when I saw Meghan doing this, I just felt like she was being the coochie girl, you know. And I'm just like, ugh, Meghan, you're a duchess. Why are you behaving like this? Like, and first of all, why are you sharing it? Like, that's where I had the problem. You really should not be sharing this. This should be private. I don't care if you're trying to be relatable, have fun, have people look to you as someone who is just trying to have a good time. That's between you and your husband. Okay, we don't need to see this hoochie. Okay. All right, so that's that, and I think Meghan is getting a lot of backlash because it is appalling. It's wrong, and you listen to Thomas Markle Jr.'s YouTube, and I'll leave the link to his channel in the description because I do want you to just click on it and listen to it. He really breaks it all down. We need to be reminded of these things because while we see Meghan Markle on her social media trying to do her, Behind the scenes, Meghan is working with a very vile group of the Sussex Squad, and she is trying to undermine the family, the Markle family, because she sees her image is going down, and so she wants to bring down the image and the whole narrative around her family. She wants to bring it down, and she's continuing to do this. And so Meghan is not quiet behind the scenes. Meghan is continuing to try to pin her family in a very negative light, because that's what Meghan does. She specializes in breaking up families, and we've seen her do it firsthand with her husband's family. Okay, check it out. Check it out. So here's the thing that I think really gives great testament to what needs to happen continually with Meghan and people that share the stage with her. When you're not with her in a friend-like capacity, but the way Brooke came to speak, the SXSW panel that Meghan was a part of with Brook Shields. And Meghan, you know, if you're sharing a stage with her in a professional capacity and you see her do something, call it out. Call it out. Keep it real. Don't let Meghan yet again try to, you know, make something one thing and go along quietly with that narrative. You have to speak up. And I'm so glad Brook Shields did that when she shared the stage with Meghan during this panel session. So this is what happened if you hadn't seen it, because let me tell you what is going out now. Something new around this story since Brook Shields called Meghan out. Some new information has come to light. I'm going to go over that with you too. So we remember when this event happened where Meghan and Brooke and Katie Couric and, you know, the two ladies were on this panel together. Well, let's just first take a listen to the actual exchange.
I was 11 years old, about 11 years old, and I had seen a commercial on TV for a dishwashing liquid, and the boys in my class at the time said, you know, it said, women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans. And the boys said, yeah, that's where women belong, in the kitchen. And at 11, I just found that infuriating and wrote lots of letters and put pen to paper, and they ended up changing the commercial to people all over America. And, you know, it's funny to look back at it now, because that was before social media, where you had a reach that was so much greater. It was just an 11-year-old with a pen and paper. But it just, I guess, goes to show that if you know that there's something wrong and you're using your voice to advocate in the direction of what is right, that can really land and resonate and make huge change for a lot of people. So your voice is not small. It just needs to be heard.
Yeah, this is where we're this is one of the ways where we're different. When I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. So, okay, great.
So that's what happened. Everyone laughed, and, you know, it was all good. But it wasn't all good for Meghan, because she did something after this happened. This has come out a year later, what Brook Shields has actually said in response to what Meghan has since done. This is what Brook Shields actually said.
It's Katie Couric, Meghan Markle, and a doctor, and Katie asks me to be a part of it. So I was like, oh, okay, all right. And she kept saying she was 11. She writes to the company, they changed the text, they changed the commercial. And I go, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I guys, just interrupt you there for 1 minute. I was trying not to be rude, but I wanted to be funny because it was so serious. And I go, I just want to give everybody here a context as to how we're different. I said, well, when I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. The place went insane. And then luckily, it was more relaxed after that. And I was like, oh, I hope she doesn't think I'm rude. I'm not being rude. I was just sort of, I think it's genius. It was just too precious. And I was like, they're not going to want to sit here for 45 minutes and listen to anybody be precious, like, or serious or definitely not on this podcast, isn't it?
And I love how Brook Shields talked about how she kept saying she was 11, right? And she wrote to the company and that she changed the text, that they had changed the commercial. And just a little side note here, even that story that Meghan is telling is a lie. Okay? Is a lie. I spoke to Thomas Markle several years ago, and the true story of that exchange that Meghan supposedly had with this dishwashing liquid company about their television ad, the way she's telling it is not even the truth. Her father is the reason why this was even put out there as a positive for Meghan because he wanted to give her that experience. Okay, I'm not going to go into it, but just know that story that Meghan told about then they changed it after Meghan wrote in, that's not even true. The reality is a lot of people wrote in about that commercial. The reality is it wasn't changed because of Meghan's one letter that she sent to the company, but she wants to empower herself to feel as if it was her. Her father helped her to feel empowered behind that, because she never did hear back from the company about that letter that she wrote. She just didn't. And then her father took steps to get it to be more highlighted more on Nickelodeon. There was just a lot around that paints the truth. And that's the problem with Meghan. She continues to lie about her own family. She's lying about the royal family. She's lied even about her experience as an 11-year-old girl that she speaks about on this panel. Okay, and so then Brook Shields comes and interrupts her, and really gives the lowdown on the reality of what her situation was like when she was younger. And I remember thinking, when Brook Shields was in that movie Pretty Babies, I remember thinking too that there was something wrong about this. Yeah, because she was a prostitute at 11 years old. I love that Brook Shields did what she did, and how she went on to say that, people are not going to want to sit here for 45 minutes and to listen to anybody just be precious and serious about this. Like, Brook Shields wanted to keep it real. Because Meghan wants to do is paint the fairy tale, paint the pretty pictures, change the narrative around to suit it so that she looks like the angel. Oh, the angel. And Brooke is like, okay, well, the reality is for me is this. And so things are not always what Meghan tries to paint them. Sometimes your past is ugly and you have to own up to it. And I love what Thomas Markle Jr. said in his video. He goes, be proud of your past. Be proud of where you came from. That's who you are. And it points to the fact that Meghan is not proud of where she came from. She's not proud of her life in general. She wants to change it. She wants to lie and make it look like one thing and lie it to be something completely different. But in the lie, she brings down other people that she's lying about that are in her circle, like the royal family, her siblings, her father. You see how this can be not a good thing? How it's more than people calling Meghan out? There's so much more to it. People's lives are being disrupted and being broken, especially the elderly. Look at what the late Queen and Prince Philip went through. Look at what Thomas Markle Sr. is going through right now because of his daughter in his old age. And he's very ill at the same time. Like, that's unimaginable that while your father is ill, while he is up there in age, that he has to even deal with this kind of stuff. And that's the problem with Meghan. And so hats off to Brook Shields for bringing it to light, because it's more than you calling out Meghan on this panel. It's you putting a stop to someone who is trying to lie about everything that they say. Because Meghan has been elevated because of her status as a duchess now. And so people are really listening. It's no different than when I was a young girl and I was really listening to Princess Diana. I hung on every word and everything she did. And young girls today are doing the exact same thing with Meghan. So Brook Shields coming out and saying what she has said helps to put a stop to all the things that Meghan has been doing. And just making it just like, look. Here's my reality, Meghan. It's, and at the same time, I think Brooke is also putting the brakes on Meghan in her lies and her trying to paint things to be what she sees in her head and then what the actual reality is. And also, I think Brooke, at the same time, she said that after she made her comment, that things became a little bit more relaxed and less like serious, you know. And I think Brooke, she's a professional. She's actually, as I've seen her, she's really a nice person. I think she gets along with people. I don't think people in the industry have big problems with Brook Shields. I mean, she's been through a lot. And I think her speaking and coming out and trying to set the tone for what was happening on the panel to kind of ease things up a little bit helped. And so this is what happened, allegedly, what has happened, the new information that I mentioned. So immediately after this exchange happened on the stage, Meghan wrote a letter to Brook Shields trying to admonish her or to call her out for what she did on the panel. Now, this is what I'm hearing. I don't know if that is true or not. However, I do know that this is something that Meghan would probably do because she doesn't want people calling her out. She doesn't want people trying to upstage her or make her look like, you know, you're the idiot or you are misguided or you're too serious or you're too whatever. Meghan would do something like that. And I think because of Meghan writing this letter to Brooke, I'm not sure how long after they had this exchange on the panel, Brook Shields felt inclined to then come out when she had an opportunity to set the record straight as to why she did what she did. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. But I'm sure if more comes out about it, maybe you've already heard about it from someone else. You know, we have to acknowledge that Brooke really has been called out by Meghan allegedly for even coming out and doing what she did on this panel. So it's almost like, once again, you know, Meghan continues to show herself to be the kind of person that it's always about Meghan. It's never really about the truth. It's never really about other people and goodwill and trying to do right by other people. It's always about Meghan and her trying to get over with the lie and the fraud and the perpetration. Okay, that's why it's a soap opera, folks. That's why it's a soap opera. That's why it's a never-ending episode of The Imitation of Royal Life. It is such a disaster for Meghan right now. You almost have to wonder what is going through her head with all the backlash that she has received on the back end around her even doing this video of the birth on her Instagram that was allegedly around 4 years ago, but some are saying it was not that long ago. Look, the truth is Meghan is not a good person, and people have to call her out. But while people are calling her out, don't get it twisted. She is working in the back end. She is working around the clock on the back end of all of this and pushing out her Sussex Squad haters to disrupt the narrative that people are hearing. Justifying why I continue to do what I do and why others do what they do and why Thomas Markle did what he did in his video. It is what it is, folks. So we have to understand, Meghan, you need to snap out of your delusion, because I think at this point, people are starting to get the message and she doesn't like it. Maybe perhaps change and be a better person, Meghan Markle. That just might help you, but it's going to take humility. It's going to take a lot of deswelling of your big ego head. All right, everyone. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Yes, okay, Otis is gone. I guess I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio.